Welcome to Mamamia Out Loud, what women are actually talking about on Monday, the 4th of August. I'm Holly Wainwright.
I am Jessie Stevens.
And I'm Amelia Lester.
In case you missed it, our Mia's on long service leave, and so Amelia Lester is here.
So Mia has been on the show for 10 years. So apparently that entitles her to long service leave. I will say, how long you been at the company, Holly?
Don't try and get rid of me that easily, Jessie.
I've been at the company for 10 years and I'm starting to bang I think we should go to producer Ruth and say there's a few more of us who are entitled to some leave. I will say.
While Mia's out the door, we're like rushing after her. No, I'm staying here. You'll have to unglue me from my seat. On today's show.
Are we in a toxic relationship with Carrie Bradshaw? I asked this important question and just like that comes to an end.
Prince Harry threatens legal action over a story that he should definitely just have let us all believe because it made him look really good.
And the latest shapewear for your face. Sometimes when I'm prepping, I come across a theory that is so brilliant and explosive that I think I can't wait to tell you both. And I have cracked why this has gone viral and what the aim here is, what the marketing ploy is. I can't wait to tell you.
I want to talk about the Logies, which is quite typical of me, actually. And you know what we don't usually see at the Logies? We usually don't see an A-list star actively campaigning to not win the gold Logie, which remains even in this, and we could talk for ages about the fragmented era of television and how free-to-air is dead and blah, 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 but people still like the Logies. People click on the Logies on Mamamia and other news sites. They want to see whether or not, indeed, Hamish Blake was going to win. And that was this year's conundrum because he was the sole man nominated for a gold there were 5 women and Hamish.
Has that ever happened before?
It has never happened before, and it's usually a real sausage fest, the whole gold Logie situation. But this year, the other nominees were Ali Langdon, Julia Morris, Lisa Miller, Pauline Yao, Sonia Kruger, and Lynn McGranger. This is what Hamish had to say when he got up earlier in the show before the gold Logie was announced to present some award with Sophie Monk. He had to say this.
We have to address the elephant in the room.
Yep. Yes, no, let's do it. Let's do it.
Ham, you're up for the gold Logie along with 6 other women, and it just would have been like this beautiful moment to have all women.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
And then you're just like kind of there?
Yeah. I know. Sort of like the drunk uncle in the bridesmaids photo, just thinking he's a legend. Yeah.
Do you reckon it's a good look if you win?
No. No, I don't.
He just can't help himself but be adorable. Anyway, I buried the lead because he didn't need to worry. He did not win. Lynn McGranger won. She has been on Home and Away for 33 years and she's retiring this year. And Sam Pang made a whole joke about how no one knows how she's going to, let's just say, die. Because she might not die. She might exit, but he said maybe it will be in a orgy with
die on the show?
Yeah, not,
I was
not
like,
in
Holly,
real
we
life.
can't just wish that people die.
Irene, because Irene's been on the show for 33
years.
years. And everyone's assuming the way she's going to get written out will be some like cataclysmic event. And Sam Pang made a gag about how it should be during an orgy with the under-21 Summer Bay League team. But it probably won't be. Anyway, she won the gold.
I love what Lynn said in her speech about how that show has employed writers and actors for that many years, especially at a time when it's, really fickle. It's really difficult for people to get work. And the best TV writers that I've met work on that show and write brilliant scripts and it pays the bills. And that's, whether you want to kind of make fun of the show for being a soap, it's been such a staple of Australian television. But on Hamish, from the moment he got nominated, he said, may the best woman win. He did not want that award to be someone who has won enough awards, because he's won the gold Logie twice before, right? So he
always gets nominated.
Yeah, and he won for
he wins
Lego
for Lego Masters all the time,
right?
Although very exciting for me. Because I know that maybe this says something really tragic about the demographic that I'm in, but a lot of my favourites got up at the Logies last night. Muster Dogs, hello.
You love that show.
Beat Lego Masters, beat all the things. Lisa Miller was up there. She was nearly crying. The dogs, I'm sure, were howling around the nation. It was a glorious moment for little doggies all over the nation. Their little paws were clapping together and they were going out and rounding up extra sheep to show them their Logie. It was a big deal.
I hope they got a bonus.
They got Logies.
I got excited about Fisk.
Fisk won 5 awards and Kitty Flanagan was fabulous every time she got up. And my mate Guy Montgomery from Guy Mont Spelling Bee got Best New Talent, which is kind of funny because I think he's at least 35.
I have a brief fashion note. Hamish didn't win, but I loved his wife's dress. Zoe Foster Blake's dress I thought was exceptional, conceptual, artistic.
Yeah, and I also loved that she was like, just to be clear, I also don't want Hamish to win. Like, I don't want him anywhere near that award. And also a shout out to Bluey, most watched show in the entire world.
Just like that couple you know who are forever breaking up and getting back together again, the Carrie Bradshaw story, we're told, is ending, but for real this time, for real. In a statement released on Friday, the showrunner of the show, Michael Patrick King, shared that the Sex and the City universe would be ending with the 3rd season of And Just Like That, which means we just have 2 episodes left to soak up all of our Carrie needs. In what may or may not have been a coded message, Kim Cattrall, who played Samantha in the original series and famously sat out And Just Like That, posted a picture of a sunset on Friday night with the caption, "It's been a very long week."
Kim, you know what I noticed? I'm sure we're going to talk about what SJP posted, this long tribute, but Kim Cattrall featured in a lot of the imagery in that she posted.
Really?
Which was nice.
Okay.
I feel like you want to believe that Sarah Jessica Parker is reaching out to Kim in that. I also noticed, I was interested in whether she was depicting Chris Noth at all big in the montage, and he made it in twice.
Yeah.
Over the weekend, though, my group chats really lit up, not with Michael Patrick King's announcement, but with Sarah Jessica Parker's follow-up to it. It was a somewhat self-indulgent spoken word poem, I'm just going to call it, set to a montage of highly flattering pics of Carrie. Let's just hear a little bit of it now.
She crossed streets, avenues, Rubicons, so it seemed. She broke hearts, heels, habits. She loved, lost, won, tripped.
Tripped.
Now, see, that wasn't Sarah Jessica Parker who wrote that or said that. That was Carrie. Like, that was so in character.
Okay, that's exactly the problem that I want to talk about, Jessie. But before we get to that, I would be remiss if I did not mention the online chatter. You know the stuff I'm talking about, Holly, about whether the show was jumped or whether it pushed. Basically, did HBO Max cancel the show, or did, in fact, Michael Patrick King and Sarah Jessica Parker just come to this conclusion as they were working on the final episodes of this season? We'll never know the answer to that, but let's face it, the show was horrible. Spoiler alert, the show was horrible.
When do I get my right of reply?
And I loved it. But Holly, I think we're in a toxic relationship with Carrie. I couldn't help but wonder why we are engaged in the humiliation ritual of watching these women.
Look, I was very upset about this. I was very upset about it. I woke up very early on Saturday morning for reasons we don't need to go into. I looked at my phone and I saw this, and then I saw SJP's announcement and I saw MK. I was like, surely not. Surely not. Not that quality
you gripped
show.
The side of the bed and
too
sobbed.
soon.
Not that high quality, low budget show. They can't be getting rid of that. No, I genuinely was upset because you're right. I'm sure you're right. It's a very typically smart Amelia Lester point to make that we were in a toxic relationship with Carrie. I definitely am, because the thing that made me really sad about it, I'm not going to argue that And Just Like That is brilliant prestige TV. It isn't, but it is certainly no worse than a lot of stuff that I see on Netflix every day. But
I disagree, but go on.
The ending of this universe is worth noting to me, because I think that for a generation of women, I was thinking about it. She is the fictional character I've spent more time with than any other fictional character in the world. If you think about all 6 seasons of the TV show, which, let's face it, I've watched more than once. The movies.
You recently recommended season 6 to me, and it was a brilliant piece of television.
Perfection. That show was perfection. The movies, that's where the rot set in, let's be honest. Because when the movies kicked in, that's where Michael Patrick King, who, look, us insiders, we call him MPK. That's where MPK decided that we needed slapstick in our lives. Remember, who could forget, like, Charlotte shitting herself on holiday in Mexico? Like, he suddenly decided, and I've heard him talk on the podcast that, of course, I also listen to every episode of, that his favourite thing about the actors is that they can clown. And I say, no clowning. Less clowning. The original show was not like that. It was not very slapsticky. It had its moments, but anyway. But I have my problems with these. I love being with these women. So even though the show is not amazing, I'm speaking for the people like me who sit and refresh on a Friday for the show to pop up, and then I indulge in it in a nostalgic escapism that probably isn't dissimilar to all the middle-aged dudes who are buying their Oasis tickets, right? They know these guys are past their prime. They know the songs aren't going to sound the same as they did in 1994, but this was their youth. These are their people. I want to know what happens to them.
Okay, I agree with all of that, but they have destroyed the legacy of the show. I love these women just as much as you love these women. I want to make that clear. But what Sarah Jessica Parker and MPK did with this was let their vanity and let money get in the way of what that show meant to so many people. I had to unlearn these characters. Miranda is all of a sudden a wallflower who is incapable of confrontation. Miranda. Suddenly, Carrie is a sex columnist who can't say the word vagina. And I don't even know what to say about Charlotte and her myriad facial expressions and her kind of like trad wife Upper East Side existence. That's not what she was.
Charlotte was always that.
When I saw the memes, I went, oh, Carrie died. Like, because I didn't see any of the, I don't follow MPK on Instagram. Honestly, I thought she died and I was like, oh, that's sad. I wonder how it happened. But then I went, this is the show that cried finale. Right? Because it cried finale after, 2004, I think, when the original show, season 6, I thought we said bye. I hate it when people want me to say bye multiple times. It annoys me emotionally.
John Farnham's endless voice retirement
that
tour.
happened. Then we watched 2 films. Bye.
But the films
and
were
then
terrible.
it came back. And then, I guarantee that there is going to be some other iteration. They're going to try and give us a novel or a podcast or something. But when that Lisa Todd Wexley's dad died for the second time, I went, come on.
It was her stepdad. I have a theory, which is I think that what went wrong is that these 3 lead actors just wanted to play themselves, and that's what went wrong with it.
I disagree. Cynthia Nixon in particular is as horrified as anybody about particularly that karaoke scene.
She's not.
In this most recent episode, in the most recent series, because that's not who Cynthia Nixon is. I think blaming the women is wrong.
I have receipts. Cynthia Nixon posted a montage on Instagram. You know who she didn't post in it?
Who?
Samantha. So clearly she's as caught up in all of the internal drama as Sarah Jessica Parker is.
But I don't think that's got anything to do with the characterization. I think for those actors, you would be crazy to turn it down when MPK comes knocking with the big bucks, right? You would be crazy to turn it down. And I agree with you that the show's become overblown. One of the things I learned listening to that podcast is the amount of money that they spend. There is a puppet in the most recent episode that apparently they had to audition 6 different puppeteers for, let's not even get into Carrie's shoes. But I think it's overblown. I think it's out of time. We don't want to spend that much money on these kind of shows anymore, and I get all that. But I, for one, will be very sad to not be hanging out with Carrie in that bloody beautiful house anymore.
Do you think that Sarah Jessica Parker is embarrassed by what a schmozzle this has turned into?
Well, we all know because when she was on Howard Stern and she expressed surprise about the Aiden licking his hand scene.
She doesn't watch it.
That she doesn't watch it. And like SJP, I think, understands very much the importance of Carrie in the culture, but she's a Booker Prize judge. Like she is, I think in her personal life, she's an intellectual, right? She is probably not following every episode of it just like that. So maybe it just, rather than your theory that they became who they are, I think it's probably become too far from who they are.
I have another more pressing question about this segment. Holly, you said earlier that you woke up really early on Saturday. Why?
Because my daughter has a job in a bakery. She has to be there at 6 on the weekends.
You have to drive her.
I have to drive her 20 minutes.
Why didn't you go back to bed when you got home?
Well, look, I did, but then I was in SJP land.
Sobbing.
It ruined my morning.
Okay.
In some confusing and disturbing royal news, Prince Harry has publicly distanced himself from the one rumour that he probably should have let live, that he once punched Prince Andrew in the face.
What's the opposite of defamation?
Yes, exactly. This was burnishing his questionable character. And yet, 2 writs today from Harry to the Mail about this. Let me explain. There's a new book out about Andrew and his family. It's called, well, it's not actually out yet. It's about to be out, but excerpts have started being published in the UK press. It's entitled The Rise and Fall of the House of York. And as the title might suggest, it's not a puff piece. The journalist who wrote it is a guy called Andrew Lowney. He's a historian and a journo, and he approached 3,000 people to talk to him about Andrew. Apparently about 10% of them said yes, and quite a lot of them have gone on the record, and no one had anything nice to say. Here's a little assessment, just a few little snippets from it. Entitled, the book says that Jeffrey Epstein told friends about Andrew, "We are both serial sex addicts. He's the only person I have met who is more obsessed with pussy than me."
Oh.
And then there's a whole lot of stuff about how gross he was and inappropriate touching to everyone from masseurs to awful jokes. And then apparently he was also very into himself and his overstated sense of importance about being a prince. Widely corroborated reports that say that whenever he'd go in a room and everyone wouldn't stand up to rise when he entered, because you're supposed to do that if people are really fancy and important in the royal family, he would say, "Let's try that again," and leave the room and re-enter and make sure that everyone would stand and bow. So far, so vile. But then there's a story in here that Andrew was bitching to the other royals about Meghan Markle behind Harry's back in the day. And that at a family do, Harry called him out about it, telling him to say it to his face if he wasn't such a coward. And things got physical and a scuffle broke out, and Andrew apparently ended up with a bloody nose. The thing about this is, they also say that Andrew told Harry that his marriage to Meghan Markle would not last more than a month, and accused his nephew of going bonkers, which is English for crazy, and not doing any due diligence into her past. He openly accused Meghan of being an opportunist and thought she was too old for Harry.
Wow.
Adding that his nephew was making the biggest mistake of his life. This is all supposed to be why Harry punched him in the face.
Yeah.
And yet today, a spokesperson for Prince Harry, for the Duke of Sussex, has told People magazine and other places, "I can confirm neither of those things are true. Prince Harry and Prince Andrew have never had a physical fight, nor did Prince Andrew ever make those comments about the Duchess of Sussex to Prince Harry." My question is, among many questions, why wouldn't Harry just let everyone believe that he punched the worst person in the world in the nose? One of the worst people in the world.
Yeah, I don't think that was a problem. I wouldn't have gone on the record about that, I don't think. This is horrific. What we have seen so far from what's in this book is so damning. And I don't think anyone had high opinions of Prince Andrew to begin with.
And you know what's so interesting to me about it is that this is a book getting published in the UK, which has the strictest defamation laws of basically anywhere in the world.
I found that there was a sports therapist, like a massage therapist. I found what she said really damning. So she was saying that she was in her workplace really and working with Prince Andrew, and the comments he would make to her about her body and what sex she enjoyed and when was the last time she had sex, like it just sounds like that was constant, and it's inconceivable that everyone around Prince Andrew didn't know. Like this was clearly an open secret. And my question, I suppose, is how it took this long. Like, did it take him falling so far, being so cast out of the royal family?
He hasn't been cast out of the royal family. I think that's part of the problem here. He's still going to church services with the family on Christmas.
I think they would like him to go away. I think that they would very much, because to your question of how is this allowed to happen, I think that we know that powerful, wealthy people get away with a lot, right? And in Britain, society doesn't get any more powerful. It gets wealthier, but it doesn't get any more powerful and high status than the royal family. And their bad behavior, in inverted commas, has been tolerated and enabled and brushed under the carpet forever, since Henry VIII was chopping off his wives' heads. So I think that for a long time it was tolerated. I think that when the legal stuff started to happen about that could not be pushed away or ignored or denied really about what Prince Andrew may or may not have been doing with Epstein and others, they've tried to make him go away quietly, but he is clearly outraged about it and doesn't want to. This book is going to blow up because one of the explanations for why Harry hasn't just gone, sure, I punched him in the nose or whatever, like he's an awful person, is because he's really good mates with Andrew's girls. So those girls didn't ask for their dad to be this awful human, and he's very good friends with Eugenie, but all of that side of the family are going to come under a very intense spotlight with this book. It will be very interesting to see what Charles is going to do.
I think you really landed on why Harry came out, because what's interesting about that statement is it says, okay, he didn't punch him, but also Andrew didn't say these hateful things about Meghan. And I think that plays into the idea that he doesn't want Andrew's daughters to face any more scrutiny for things that their father didn't do, because they're going to face enough for what he did do.
They are, and they are loyal to Harry. So in the documentary, I remember they kept in a part where Eugenie, or Euge, as Harry calls her, was flying into LA to meet them. So they've managed to play both sides quite well. The York girls, as it were, York women, now both married with kids and everything. And I think that probably tells us why Harry didn't want to throw more fuel on the fire. But the fire is burning. It's going to be very hard for anyone to get out of there. In other news, one member of the royal family appears, at least, to have done something normal. Princess Anne's son is getting married, and allegedly to a normal person. Peter Phillips, as he's known because Princess Anne famously did not give her kids titles. Take note, Harry and Meg's. They're just called Peter Phillips and Zara Phillips, is engaged for the second time, and he is marrying NHS nurse Harriet Sperling, which seems on the surface to be very normal.
I thought that. And then I read an article about,
little dig.
Yeah.
Little bit of digging. She is reportedly a distant relation of the Duke of Gloucester. And she did, it is interesting that she once wrote an article for a Christian magazine about being a single mother, and she talks about having struggled and that resources were scarce in that time and everything. So she certainly isn't blue blood royal. But he's got 2 daughters from his first marriage. They're getting married, and everybody's saying, isn't this lovely and normal?
Yeah, because I saw the lovely and normal commentary, and then I went deep, and I don't know what any of these words mean, but there was a Gloucestershire, is that what it's called?
Yes.
There was that. There was something about a lord of the manor of Edgecote.
Goodness me.
And there was a first cousin of Princess Alice.
And
or
wasn't
something.
Edgecote the pile, as it were, of Pemberley in the BBC Pride and Prejudice?
Oh, there you go.
There we go. Yeah, so I don't think she's your average nurse. I think that she has some connection, a little bit like, wait, does Kate Middleton have a connection?
No, she actually does not.
Okay, all right. Yeah. So she's not
She
a total
was more
outsider.
Normal.
Yeah.
in
I
inverted
think you're
commas.
being a bit cynical, because in one generation, look, I think it is actually kind of amazing that they both had first marriages. They both have children from other relationships. It's a blended family in a way that just one generation ago, Charles was checking to see whether Diana was a virgin. We've come a long way.
It's true.
Skims is making shapewear for your face now. And have we all seen the photos?
Oh, yes.
What was your reaction when you first saw the photos?
Stylish jaw surgery bandage.
Got it.
It made me immediately self-conscious about my under-chin area.
Interesting.
I didn't need that to make me self-conscious about. I see these videos every week.
Yeah, and it's a little bit Handmaid's Tale. It also reminded me, because this is the only content I consume, of the Formula One drivers, the thing they wear under their helmet.
Oh, yeah.
where
Oh,
they
I'm
kind
not
of-
letting you guys talk
Okay,
about that on
I
the
know.
show.
No
Move
more.
on.
Okay,
no
sorry.
more.
So the product is marketed as, and this is from the website, our first ever face innovation is here. This must-have face wrap boasts our signature sculpting fabric and features collagen yarns for ultra-soft jaw support.
What?
Velcro closures at the top and nape of the neck allow for easy everyday wear. So you can take it off and put it back on when you're out and about.
Questions. I have so many questions. Easy everyday wear?
Yeah, so if you're at the cafe, you want
Every
to take it
day
off so
wear.
you don't, so you
I
don't
think
get your
the
coffee
main
on
thing
it.
is you meant to be wearing it while you're asleep.
Well, Holly, it comes in 2 colours because you'd look very silly if you had the wrong colour Skims on your face, wouldn't you? Now, the product retails for $88 Australian. It's actually not available here yet. Sorry, Amelia. But it did sell out in the US in hours.
Did it?
Yes.
And is
sold out
this
really
a sell
quickly.
out like Megan's Jam, or do we think that means it was really popular?
Good question. I mean, look, it absolutely was a viral sensation. A lot of it was mocking, and then a lot of it was saying, as someone who is very on TikTok, this, I don't know what they call it. It's kind of like an unmasking, but I keep being served these videos of women getting up in the morning, taking off their mouth tape, taking off their heatless curls, taking off their, it's like a bandage. I saw a 16-year-old girl doing it recently. People are bandaging.
16-year-old?
Yeah. It started with face tape and now it's like bandaging, and it's very much marketed at young women, like Gen Z millennials.
That's
Don't actually have to
interesting.
worry about
Yeah.
their jowls yet.
to get a snatch sort of face.
2 things.
Yeah.
Snatched is the word they all used, isn't it? Like the snatched jaw. 2 things. So the woman behind Skims, as we know, Skims is Kim Kardashian's business, but the woman behind it really is Emma Grede. Well, actually her and her husband Yance. So we've talked about them on the show before, and Emma Grede has this is really pushing her entrepreneurial credentials at the moment. She's got a podcast that drives me crazy, etc. And she has spoken a lot on her publicity tours recently about what makes Skims so great and what makes the Kardashians so great to work with is that they don't get in the way of the experts who actually know what they're doing. B, they have an amazing instinct for viral content. So who could forget the nipple bra, right? When Kim Kardashian came out and she was wearing the bra that had like built-in nipples, and that at least 2 news cycles about nipples. Nipples are back. Remember when Samantha had nipples in Sex and the City?
We would have talked about it. Yep.
Why would you want one of those? Why wouldn't you want one of those? Oh, blah, 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 blah. And that went on and on and on. And Emma Grede said, we sold out of those really quickly, but it was never about the nipple bra. The nipple bra was to get you to Skims' website and then buy something else we were selling. And in that case, it was the baby tees that you would want your nipples to show through. I'm grabbing my boobs as I speak because I hope my nipples are not showing because who knows where they are. Anyway, so there's that. So one of the things is this: we are being manipulated just as we are by Sydney Sweeney and everyone else to talk about it, to get it moving, because everyone's like, Skims, 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 look at what they do. And the other piece to that that's very clever from Kim's perspective is she doesn't always have to be in this narrative anymore. So unlike, say, a Goop, where Gwyneth still is very much, if you go to Goop's website, she still is their lead model. She still is their best bet at getting you to buy a really expensive cashmere jumper as if she's wearing it. Skims have been very good strategically at jumping on other people and getting them into the campaigns, whether they're White Lotus stars, whether it's a pop star, whether it's someone else, and building it beyond Kim. So every time they release something that seems strange and viral and out of this world, my antennae go up and go, what are they really trying to sell us? So there's that.
I think the aesthetics of it are interesting as well because it looks like work. And I think beauty sort of goes through cycles of you want to look effortless or you want to look like you're working. So to illustrate, for instance, I think in the 90s, it was about you wanted to look like effortless, like Kate Moss. Like she didn't brush her hair, she didn't wear makeup,
she didn't go to bed.
Yeah,
she couldn't have worn one of these if she wanted to. She came straight from the club.
Very much in tandem with the rise of the Kardashians, I think now beauty, we actually want to, or the fashion is to telegraph how much work you put into the way you look. So that's why contouring has been around for a few years now. Contouring is not about a natural look. It's about I spent time on this. And when I look at that face bandage, I think it's all about celebrating work, putting work into beauty. Now, whether that's a good thing or not, it's probably a bad thing, but it's designed to look a little bit utilitarian, a little bit ugly.
So this is my theory. I was going deep on this and I was thinking about what you said, Holly, about they're always trying to sell something else. And I was going, what is this about? Because what they've managed to do is, I must say, the first time I saw this image, I was horrified, confused, interested. And by the time it popped up on my feed today, it started to look relatively normal because of how many times I'd see the image. So we are normalizing these sort of face sculpting things. And I thought about a few weeks ago, we were talking about the Kardashians and the transparency around cosmetic surgery and how all of a sudden your Khloes, your Kylies, your Chris's are saying, here's what I've got done. And we were speculating and we went, I wonder if they are getting into clinics. Like, I wonder if they're actually getting into procedures because we've seen this cultural shift towards going, I got a facelift, I'll tell you how much it was and who did it. If so, people are going to need one of these. Like, I wonder if this is legitimately a
surgical
facelift,
device.
a surgical device that is going to be, I wonder if in 10 years walking around LA, people are just going to be wearing these. Like, if we are going to normalize the kind of post-op facelift look.
That's interesting because I reckon, yes, you go to some fancy suburbs of Sydney and it is normalised now that people might be wearing a bandage on a certain place or that their skin might be looking a certain way from a peel or whatever. So I don't think that's beyond the realms of possibility. Sidebar, I spoke to a woman last week for Mid who does a lot of cosmetic procedures, and she is furious at the number of people who come in and show Kris Jenner's facelift because she says, show me that without filters, show me that when it hasn't been through a Facetune. She's like, she doesn't look like that, nobody looks like that, stop showing me that picture. But you could be onto that, but I don't know if this is surgical grade, blah, blah, blah. But the other thing that makes me really kind of exhausted about this, because a lot of women reacted with, oh my God, another thing to worry about. And as you can tell by the fact that I do this, I'm exhausted by all the things I'm meant to be doing when I'm asleep now, right? It used to be that sleep was rest, but now I have to monitor the quality of it. How many times did I wake up in the night? I have to cover myself in 25 layers of snail snot.
Yeah.
I have to wear one of these, eye mask, mouth tape. I have to do all these things while I'm asleep, and no wonder nobody's sleeping. It's not very restful.
It was interesting because there was an article in the Sydney Morning Herald today about the return of the idea of sleeping on very thin rollable mattresses, as the Japanese have done for centuries. So enough with the sort of optimized fluffy mattresses and perfect pillows. Just roll out your little thin cotton mat, and then you roll it up at the end of the night when you're done sleeping. And there's a sense of people wanting to return to basics. Now, the question was, is this better than sleeping on a full-blown mattress? And they interviewed a number of experts who basically emoji shrugged. The truth is we still don't know so many things about sleep. We know that it's good to get it. We don't understand a lot about how it works or how to optimize it. That's because we only ever study sleep problems and not how to get better sleep. And so I wonder if part of this is that it opens the door to the snake oil salesman like him and like Skims to say this is going to give you better sleep.
I tell you what, you're not getting any. Like if you're covered in this snail snot and you've got your eye mask and one of these on.
And your retainer.
Nobody's having sex in bed anymore.
No. Did we also see the Anthony Hopkins, who obviously played Hannibal Lecter in Silence of the Lambs, what he put on social media wearing it?
Yeah, and I have to ask, does he have a robust social media presence, or is this like him
good.
popping into?
He jumps on every now and again and takes the mickey out of things. Yep.
Here's what he said.
Hello, Kim. I'm already feeling 10 years younger. Goodbye.
Do we think this was organic or paid?
I don't know.
Yeah. Good question.
A massive thank you, Out Louders. That is all we've got time for today. We're going to be back in your ears tomorrow and, of course, for the rest of the week. And thank you to our fabulous team for putting the show together, as always.
Bye.
Bye.